of the black and brown demographic and others in general would find the SPLC's labeling of you as a hate group. Is there any truth to that? Are y'all a hate group?
That is absolutely untrue. The Southern Poverty Law Center calls us a hate group because we bring up the crimes that's done to blacks and Latinos, which is ridiculous. Like if you call us a hate group, then why aren't you calling the NYPD a hate group or the Los Angeles Police Department? I ain't killed nobody. Exactly. I ain't dragged nobody out their car. I ain't split nobody's head open. Facts. I didn't rape no women, on a car stop. Facts. I ain't mass incarcerating and planting drugs on people. How you gonna call us a hate group, but you ain't gonna call? Listen, matter of fact, you got to call the whole United States a hate group at this point. So how you gonna say that? So see, they call us a hate group because we turn around and say the white man is the devil for the things that he's done. The word devil just means adversary. This man has been an adversary to black and brown people for the last 400 years. And it hasn't let up yet. All the crimes that have been committed. You gotta.
If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood I lay my life down right now for all my sisters and brothers, because I love them. I see them dapping and hug them. It's amazing to see how well we adapt from the struggle. Born again from a life of sin, trapped in the gutter. My mind frame was to kill my own kind. Feeling inferior, waking up ready to die. Run with them killers, so it's just a matter of time. For why take your life or let you take mine? That's when I realized the slaves killing slaves while the white man live to get old. We in them graves, shit got me feeling played. I opened the Bible, went through them records, found out we was royalty, a nation to be respected. But in this world we rejected, we hated for our complex. Still fighting to get accepted. We hear the truth and reject it, but love is getting corrected. And all my niggas correct me. The commandments, the foundation we erected. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Hey, hey. Hey, hey.
Shalom, Israel. And when I mean Israel, I'm talking about the black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now, it's that time again. Commander General Yahanna is putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us at the Sheraton in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the Convention Center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence, because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time, sending curses to them enemies.
Oh yeah, it's going down. Join us for this year's All Black Party, hosted by Commanding General Yahanna and the I.S.U.P.K. This year, it's going down in Durham, North Carolina at the Durham Armory. Last year, brothers and sisters came out from all over the world. It was a packed house to celebrate the 2022 Hebrew Academy graduates. These brothers faced life and death, and as a result, they were honored on this night for their sacrifice and their victory at the gauntlet. But wait, this year it's going down. There will be a Hebrew concert featuring Captain Akkad, 144 the Rebel, King Ty, Captain Ty Ward, One Westworld, Lost Tribes, Captain Katazar, I Won Ya Allah, also known as Dopey, and Officer Natazar, U.P.K. Natazar, and much more. It's going to be an open bar. Make sure that you get your tickets. It's going down this year, 2023, the 54th annual Passover and the annual All-Black Party, hosted by Commanding General Yahanna and the I.S.U.P.K.
Still blessed and still we rise.
I.S.U.P.K. presents the 54th annual Feast of Unleavened Bread. Last year we did it big. This year is going to be way big. More brotherhood, more sisterhood, more UPK. On Sunday, April 2nd, 2023, we're going to be at 421 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Sheraton Raleigh Hotel Ballroom. We calling all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come join us.
Shalom, Israel. And when I mean Israel, I'm talking about the black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now, it's that time again. Commander General Yahanna is putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us at the Sheraton in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the Convention Center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time, sending curses to them enemies.
I.S.U.P.K. presents the 54th annual Feast of Unleavened Bread. Last year we did it big. This year is going to be way big. More brotherhood, more sisterhood, more UPK. On Sunday, April 2nd, 2023, we're going to be at 421 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Sheraton Raleigh Hotel Ballroom. We calling all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come join us.
Yeah. Let's clap it up. We good right here? What do you like? Mr. Wall. All right, no sweat. Yeah, y'all should nothing but y'all shy. Tonight, Wednesday night scripture breakdown in DC. All right, we're gonna get all your questions. Quash, you sure we good on center? So I'm looking a little one-sided over here.
It's like that because of the pizza. So I have to set it and then adjust it.
Yeah, but we had what 48 hours. Nobody in contact Barack.
So I contacted them. Is a piece on here. I don't know where that piece came from. This one is smaller than.
Okay, but where's the one we usually use? Anyway, it's been 48 hours. That's wild as hell, boy. Ain't no sweat. No sweat at all. Okay.
Sorry, there is a question online.
Let's try to get any questions. You could type it in online. Where's that coming from? All right, Tawada. Any questions, you could type it in online. And of course, for sure, if you Passover, April 1st, Salakia. April 1st, 2023, Raleigh, North Carolina, $200 per person or every adult 17 years and over. Make sure you pay that Passover fund. Commander John Yahanna going to show out definitely this year in Raleigh, North Carolina. You don't want to miss it. You know what I mean? You don't want to miss it. Lamb, wine, bread, plus a whole week of activities in probably the baddest venue, that I've ever seen. God damn, that venue is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. At a Raleigh Convention Center. You could go Google it. You could go, see if you could pull up a picture of it, Bukwash, if you don't mind. The Raleigh Convention Center. From the outside, the thing looked like Avatar, like the planet. It looked like the whole, what's the planet named Pandora? it looked like a whole other planet. The venue is absolutely ridiculous. You don't want to miss this one for sure. You know what I mean? And Passover, that's Israel's premier high holy day or holiday if you're in the world, right? You outside of the truth of you being an Israelite, for the world, the world celebrates so many different holidays and goes all the way out for them, like the Christmas, the Thanksgiving, New Year's, 4th of July. I believe that's about it in terms of where the world actually contributes and actually does it. The Halloween maybe, you know what I mean? But for us, Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called Negro, Hispanic, and Native Indian, Passover is like our premier. That's our flagship high holy day or holiday. That's where the word holiday comes from. It comes from the holy days, right? That's our day. That Passover. And it is something that the Lord said to celebrate and remember. Give me it in Leviticus 23 real quick. And we jump into many questions because the Lord destroyed our enemies, our oppressors, our slave masters during that time of the feast of the Passover. Right? The Lord destroyed our oppressors as we served slavery in Egypt. For that Pharaoh who was over us at that time, the scripture says there was a Pharaoh that came that did not know Joseph nor respect the children of Israel. Meaning that Pharaoh didn't care what Joseph did for Egypt, right? He didn't give a damn about how Joseph damn near saved Egypt through that famine. He didn't care how, because of Joseph, Egypt was able to be prosperous through that famine. Because when that famine came, the world was the world at that time, the known world at that time was under pressure, and Egypt had stocks. The stock houses was full, and thus was able to sell to the other nations and to the other regions and kingdoms at top dollar. And that's how Egypt generated a ton of wealth and power. But it was because of Joseph. And then after the era of Joseph, when Israel started to grow, that Pharaoh died, and another Pharaoh came. And the scripture said he did not know Joseph, meaning he didn't give a damn about Joseph. He couldn't care, which is how the heathens are with us. Like, no matter where we are in this world, these 12 tribes of Israel, you descendants of slaves, whether you're from the North America, you descendants of the Negro in America, the so-called Negro, the tribe of Judah, whether you're descendants of the West Indians, the Negro in the West Indian Islands, the so-called Negro, the tribe of Benjamin in the islands, whether you're Taino Indian, a Carib, or Arawak, a Native Indian, a Seminole Indian, the Native Indian tribes like Gad and Reuben and Ephraim and Naphtali and Issachar and Asher, wherever you are in the world, these nations feed off us and drink our blood and drink our blood metaphorically and in some cases physically. And they suck all the life and energy out of us in service to them. So much so that we start serving them willingly. We start actually really willingly serving them and showing a good face towards them. And then when they get rich and powerful and have their empire, they turn their backs on us, man. They kick their feet at us. They dust their feet off. They kick rocks at us. And they act like we're a problem. They turn around and call us lazy when we made them rich and wealthy. They turn around and call us shiftless and, no good in society and pests and, just evil. And they demean us so much when we done serve their societies all over. And that's what happened. That's been happening since the days of Egypt. That Pharaoh didn't give a damn about us. And the Lord saw it. The Lord is our Father. That's what the Lord's prayer starts with. That's what Christ said. When they asked Christ how to pray, he said, say these words, our Father. That's what it starts with. And any man who has children, you know how you would go. You know how you're ready to risk it all and throw everything away for somebody to harm your children. You know the lengths you will go. So much imagine the most powerful man in the face of the earth, in the universe, the most high power Yahweh, how he would do for his children, for his specially chosen seed, the 12 tribes of Israel. He came through there and rolled on Egypt. He came through there and flattened Egypt because that Pharaoh didn't give a damn, right? You have it? Go ahead.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at the evening is the Lord's Passover.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread.
Right. Read the first verse.
First verse. The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 2, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
Right? These are the feasts of the Lord. And that Passover it's listed as the second one because of the first feast of the Lord is what? The Sabbath day. That's the first feast day of the Lord. Every 7 days, the Lord gives us a holy day, a day off, a holiday, a day off of servile work, meaning you really in the kingdom of heaven ain't no employer going to be able to force you to come to work. We in captivity now under the devil, the so-called white man, and he's able to force us to come to work. And no matter where you are in the earth, you're ultimately working for the oppressor, the so-called white man. And he's able to now not consider you or have respect or have consideration for your life and your beliefs, your religion, your whatever it is. And now he forces, you ought to come in. If you don't come in Saturday, you lose your slave, right? And so that's really what it is. So, but right after that is Passover, where we commemorate how the Lord slaughtered our oppressors on our behalf, where we didn't have to take up arms against Pharaoh or Egypt. We didn't have to draw swords against Pharaoh or Egypt. All we had to do was listen to the man the Lord sent. That's all we had to do. Obey what Moses said to do, and Egypt fell overnight. You get the point? That's worth remembering. And that's very, very heavy because without knowing you're an Israelite, we will swallow down every ounce of oppression that our slave master does to us, our oppressors do to us. Every wrongdoing, every miscarriage of justice, every wrong judgment, everything they do to us, we'll find some way to swallow it down. You get the point? We'll find some way to swallow it down and never ever get angry at it. And that's wrong to do anybody. To tell them to swallow down an offense, a violation, and not even be angry about it. And that's why it's important to know who you are, to know your identity, because we have a Lord who we could cry on that will kill everybody. He'll just destroy everybody, and you wouldn't have to lift a finger. He'll destroy a nation with birds, with geese, with mice, with roaches. He'll destroy a nation with what's that animal from China? The pangolin. The pangolin. He'll destroy the world with the pangolin, which is where they say the COVID came from them the Moabites eating all these weird behind animals, and that COVID-19 jumped species and destroyed the whole world's economy. Not a plane was flying. The Lord could do that, and that's why we remember the Passover. Go ahead.
So, like, sir, you just mentioned a number of plagues throughout the world. You know, the black plague with the rats, swine flu with the pigs, bird flu with the birds.
Exactly.
You just named.
That's the Lord. That's the Lord. Listen, there's a is it? I think it's South Africa or New Zealand. Take your time, brother. Be careful. Just be careful. Be careful with the equipment. There's I think it's either South Africa or New Zealand. There was a plague recently. You could probably try to find it. I find a video of it. You could probably play it. Where they had these mice. I mean, brother, it's millions of mice that was just tearing up the crop, and the farmers was bawling, brother. They was bawling. They was crying because of the plague, and they're asking the government to stop it. The government can't stop God, nigga. How the government gonna stop God? You think God is a policy? You think he's an act, he's a legislation that you could vote and stop God? You can't stop God, man. Go ahead.
That's like so what you're saying, because they make us swallow everything that's indecent to us because we don't even know that it's indecent.
That's it.
We don't know who we is.
We don't know who we are. You understand? And okay, a part of us does know the offenses and the oppression we face is indecent. The thing is, after nobody gives you justice, you start looking at yourself as nothing. Justice is very, very important to your self-esteem, to your self-value. If you suffer an offense, it's just think of what happens to a young girl who's molested or raped. 9 out of 10 times, what does she turn into as she is an adult? Prostitute, stripper, destroyed. And that's a process of degrading her self-esteem, where she's not worth anything, so she could go let 10 men run through her for the day and still function like a normal human being. And society would look at her like, damn, how you sleep with 10 men and you don't care? That started long before, when she got no justice for whoever was coming in her room at night, some uncle, some brother, some preacher, some sports coach, some teacher, somebody, mother's boyfriend, somebody was coming and violating the hell out of her, and there was nobody to kick it door and bring him before the judges, and they tried his case and cut it off in front of her. She knows life matters. Without that, brother, you would go through a whole, you would reach a point where you will just relax in yourself as I'm worth nothing. And now you begin to throw your life away. And that's Black, Hispanic, and even Indian people in a nutshell. You see all these videos with these drive-bys and these daring robberies. You watch the news, daring robbery, and police shot these people, blah, blah, blah. And you sit there and you wonder, damn, how Black people throwing away their life so much? Because we've been violated to the point where our life don't even matter to us. So you sitting there watching us just do some crazy shit and wondering why. This is why. That's why. You get the point? Go ahead.
So I have the video playing on Australia.
It's Australia, right? Australia, all that mice and tearing up the wheat and the grain, all the storehouses, tearing it to hell up. And them farmers was balling, brother. They was in hell. But you can't stop the Lord, though. You get it, boy? You can't stop the Lord. No man can stop stop what the Lord want to do. And it's important to know we are his children, because we could turn to him. We could obey him and we could ask him for something and he'll do it. He'll absolutely do it. You get the point? So that's it. The Passover, April 1st this year, Saturday, April 1st, Raleigh, North Carolina, the convention center. We're going to go down there. We're going to have a whole ball all week long, from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, days upon days of events. And, we're going to kick off the whole year. The year begins around that time too, officially according to the Bible. Around the Passover time is the beginning of months. It says that in Exodus. This is the beginning of months, right? The new year was not January 1st. It wasn't December 31st and the January 1st. That's the dead of winter. The new year, according to the Lord, is springtime, which is around Passover time. People in the world try to celebrate Easter close by to that. Easter is a pagan holiday. It has nothing to do with the Lord. That Passover period, that's the new year. That's when spring comes around, when the grass is new and green. The trees go from being with no leaves and get life back into them. It's when the farmers go in and, you know, start to plant the crop so they could harvest it later down in the year in September, October. The springtime is that new year time, all right? Don't forget that Passover, April 1st, 2023, Raleigh, North Carolina, Raleigh Convention Center. We're going to be in there. All right, what we got?
So there's a question online from Olivia Arnold. She said, Lord's will, me and my children will be there, but if I'm not able to, by any reason, will there be something held at the body in San Bernardino?
Okay, she said she'll be there.
Lord will, her and her children will be there.
Will be there, but if not, okay. If you can't be there, sis, what you need to do is contact your camp leader. You want to contact your camp leader. That's the other thing. The Pastor Shalom, sis. How you doing? You good? All right. Say again. You sick now? We all sick. Don't worry about it. Welcome to the club. Yeah. Okay. What you gotta understand is Passover. You can't miss the Passover unless you have permission or excuse leave from a priest, right? One of the priests has to, you know, damn near verify your absence. So you, a sister, you can't make it down for whatever reason, especially for sisters. So brothers is a little bit more difficult. Find me the scripture where it says somebody who is on a long journey and can't make it back. You know what I'm talking about? There's a few reasons that's justifiable by the Lord to miss the Passover. It's listed in the Bible and what could be done afterwards. So I'm gonna explain those to you. And what you want to do is contact your camp leader, right? The camp leader, San Bernardino, I believe that's Southern California, right? Right. You want to contact Captain Godal, and he gonna give you the right counsel on how to proceed. Depends on what you're going on. For brothers, it's very, very difficult to miss that Passover. You had to be on a journey that's far away, and you're not gonna make it back. Some brothers are in Esau's military, and they in the school. And they deployed somewhere, they can't make it in time. No problem. You get that excuse. You'll be able to do something later down the line. For a sister, there's a few reasons you could be unclean in addition to the journey. A few reasons you could miss the Passover in addition to the journey, and that could be you being unclean due to your menstrual cycle, right? I can't call it monthly no more because there's a lot of sisters have that irregular cycle from dealing with all these birth control and this, that, the other, and whatever else going on with your body. It mightn't be every month, but it might come around that time. If you're unclean, you cannot attend the Passover according to the law because you're unclean. You have to stay the days of separation away. You know, it's a time for you to chill as your body regenerates itself. You might be unclean from childbirth. Right, you might have just given birth to a baby. A boy, you're unclean for 45 days. A girl, I think you're unclean for 80 days or 90 days or something like that. Right, you might be within your time of uncleanness. You are excused from the Passover. In that case, you didn't miss the Passover. You get the point? You didn't miss it. You had an excuse absence because you would have been there. Outside of that, if you miss the Passover, according to the law of the Bible, you miss the Passover, you are to be cut off from your people. This is one of them things where you can't miss the Passover. The Passover is everything. That's everything with us. If it wasn't for the Passover, we would all be Egyptian. Bald heads and drawing down eyebrows on and walking around in some skirt doing all kind of gay nonsense. Because that Egyptology was it's full. That Egyptian empire was filled of homosexuality. I could say that. That would be because of the LGBTQ. That's, I don't know. Shit. They censor you for everything. Anything, the alternative lifestyle. That was was the backbone of Egypt. You get the point? You had the scripture, I mean? No sweat.
The book of Numbers, chapter 9, verse 10. Speak to the children of Israel, saying, if any man of you or your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off.
Right, that's another way. You might have attended a funeral of a relative, right? As a priest, it's very difficult to go to a funeral. It had to be of close kin, mother, father, sister, brother, right? Outside of that, you really, needed in the word of the Lord. Again, you contact your camp leader. Maybe you could be spared. When I say spared, you could be given leave because you go to a funeral, you go into the house of the dead body, you go to the grave site where the dead bodies are, you're automatically unclean for 7 days. Now you go to a funeral the week of Passover. Once you go into that building with the dead body, that's the church, wherever they keeping the ceremony, where there's a house, whatever. Once you go into the building with the dead body, you're unclean for 7 days. You go to the cemetery, you're unclean for 7 days. The funeral and stand outside. You could touch people and hug people who was in there. You'll be unclean for 1 day according to the law. But once you go in there where that dead body is, you're unclean for 7 days. And unclean just means a period of quarantine. The Lord had a period of quarantine for us since the days of Adam because he understands how to have a society. Our oppressor needs a disease or some pandemic to give you what? Quarantines. And well, the COVID quarantine was first 2 weeks, then 10 days, then 7 days. When the Lord gave us quarantines for illnesses, for being unclean, you have sex with your woman, you're unclean for a day. Because seed done come out of your fluids that was in you done come out of you, come out of her. You'll stay in the house for a day until sundown. Don't bring whatever you'll have over there. If by sundown you're good to go, you're in breakouts and nothing, you could come around people tomorrow. But until then, you got to stay quarantined. The Lord had a way where we wouldn't have all this nonsense going on now. So again, a funeral, you could get leave for it, but again, a priest has to approve it. You get the point? Don't just say I ain't coming. That's you listening to that demon that's telling you, don't go to the Passover, forget about it. You know what I mean? But Beyonce have a damn concert. You'll get to that though. You get to that. You get the point? Go ahead, where we are. Okay. Or a journey that's far away. You may have had to journey far away. You're not going to make it back in time. Your flight get delayed. Something with your slavery, whatever. You don't talk to your camp leader and get leave. You have an excused absence from the Passover. Go ahead.
Okay. Or be in a journey afar off. Yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord. Verse 11. The 14th day of the second month at even they shall keep it and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Right. So there's a provision in there if that happens. There's a provision in there if that happens. But don't get simple and say, well, I ain't gonna go to the main one. I'm gonna just keep it after. That's not how this thing goes. That's not how this nation goes. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make it to the Passover. It's a holy congregation. It's a gathering, a holy convocation, which means what? A gathering of the Israelites that's holy, that's separate, that's special. You ought to come down there and see your brothers and sisters. They're going to be coming in from UK. UK bringing like 25 or 30 people and the kids. They damn near half the plane going to be coming down through. They're coming from Canada. They're driving down. Last year, a brother drove from Toronto to Florida. So drove, 2.5 days straight. What's your excuse? You ain't got no excuse. They're coming from Trinidad. Galawan coming down there from Trinidad. Coming from Jamaica, I believe, this year too. Coming from Honduras. They're coming from all over. West Coast coming down to North Carolina. Midwest, Quad, Chicago, Minneapolis, Indiana. Everybody coming down. It's going to be a massive undertaking in North Carolina. Come on. Brother coming from the Netherlands. I forget about that. He came through last year. Coming down from the Netherlands. You get the point? All over where the UPK is at, brother. And this is where we have schools all over. Everybody is, coming, making that trip, making that journey. And when you read about the Passover, any
mention of it. That's how it was. That's how it was. That's why Christ didn't have a room for Mary to, have the baby in, because all the inns was full because it was around Passover time. That's when Christ was born. Christ was born around Passover time, springtime, tax season. How they always tell the Christian story, there was no room in the inn. There was no room because everybody was in town for Passover. So she had to go, sleep wherever and make him wherever. That's why, there was not, because Passover is a big undertaking, was always a huge thing for Israel, and it always will be a huge thing for Israel. You get the point? So to the sister, what you want to do, sis, is do everything to get down to North Carolina. Do everything and confer with your camp leader all the way. Don't go do no hero nonsense and the thing just don't make sense. There's some things you can do and some things you should not do, right? You say you have kids and all of that, talk to your camp leader. Talk to your camp leader. You have a few months, I think about 2.5 months to figure it out. Talk to your camp leader. Until then, you really ain't got no permission to miss the Passover. You get yourself down there. There's brothers who done I.S.U.P.K out there in Oklahoma. There was a year, I think 2011. This brother used to, he's a mechanic and a body shop. He work on car bodies, forget what they call them, those type of people. I went and sold all his tools. He pawned all his tools to get a ticket to come to Philly, and he could have only afforded a one-way ticket. And brother Manager Yahanna heard that and went and repurchased all his tools for him. This brother just came to he had to get to the Passover. He had no means of doing it, and he went and pawned his tools to get here, and then gave up that livelihood to get it, and got it back, full, got, whole ticket back to Oklahoma, all that type of stuff. I think the same thing happened with the brother from Canada. Something he did, I think he had to pawn something or get rid of something. Go ahead.
What I heard, he only had money to make it gas-wise one way.
That's it. He only had enough bread to make the drive. He couldn't get the ticket because the ticket was expensive, the plane ticket. So he had enough money to make a one-way drive to Florida, not knowing how he would get back. But if you've been a day in the ISUPK, you would know that your problems are our problems. You understand? You don't have problems. We have problems. So he couldn't make it back. That means we couldn't make it back. And brother, every brother, once they heard the story, just started, chipping in. He was able to get back, get a room to stay, everything. The Passover, once again, is our holiday. And for sure in the Israelite school of UPK on the command and general, and all Israel gets taken care of. You ain't got nothing to worry about. If you can't make it to the Passover, really, when you look at it, it's because you don't want to make it to the Passover. Right. That's really what it is. It's not you can't make it. You don't want to make it because there's really no excuse. All right.
I have a couple comments online.
No sweat.
There's a brother called Everett Bryant. He says, Israelites were stiff-necked people. I would not call myself that. None of them were born in Israel, but they say they're Israelites.
I understand. Where is he from? What's his name?
His name is Everett Bryant.
Everett Bryant. I understand you, brother. Nobody wants to be a nigga. Nobody want to be a nigga. Everybody want to be, a white man. You put on a karate gi and worship Buddha before you learn Hebrew and say shalom and stand on a street corner and speak the words of the Lord to your own people. I understand that. I understand that everything you're doing. What's his name? Everett one?
Everett Bryant.
Everett Bryant. Just tell me where you're from, Everett Bryant, so I can let you know where the school is at. But you sound like the right brother for the job. I'm going to explain to you why. Some of the prophets didn't want to do the job. Some of the prophets didn't want to, didn't want to do it. Jonah didn't want to do it. Right. He have a whole book in the Bible. I'm interested in this Everett guy here. I pray he's in D.C. I like an old stubborn, hard-headed nigga. I like that shit. Come stand on post with me at camp and speak the words of the Lord, brother. I like that. Israel was a stiff-necked people. What you say? Stiff-necked on what?
He was a stiff-necked people. I wouldn't call myself that.
And none of y'all was born in Israel. I wouldn't call myself that. No problem. Everett, just tell me where you from, all right? I'm gonna hook you up, Everett. I like that shit. I wouldn't call myself that. Give me a year, Everett. You're gonna be, I am Israel. You're gonna be on the corner yelling, and you're gonna look back at this class and laugh at yourself. I was a dumbass. I was stupid as shit. Give me a year with you, Everett. I like that type right there. Go ahead.
So there's another brother. His name is Garvin, but he's on the account. Jocelyn Bartholomew. So my question is, why is David house and Saul house was fighting like Israel versus Judah?
I got you. I'm going to explain that for you. That's a little bit lengthy. I mightn't be able to get into the whole history of it tonight, but I'll break it down in a nutshell for you. Probably do another class on it, all right? Let me know when Everett respond. I'm serious about that shit. You never call yourself that. Go ahead.
He has another question. Why the house of Benjamin was at war with Levi?
Which part he talking about with that? You probably, who's that? The Everett guy?
That's a Garvin.
God, okay, no, God, you're gonna have to pull that scripture where you're talking about it. That may have been in the same war with David and Saul, right? I can't say for sure. Let me know when Garvin, not Garvin, what's his name? Everett. Let me know when Everett replies. All right, if you don't mind. What else? What else we have?
The sister Olivia Arnold said, "What is the priest officer for San Bernardino School?"
No problem. The camp leader, that's Captain Gadal. How the brother's gonna put the number for I.S.U.P.K California in the chat for you. All right. Right, the brother's gonna put that number in the chat for you, and you're gonna be straight. Just call the school, get in contact with the school. So that sister, what's her name again?
Olivia Arnold.
Okay, Olivia Arnold. I'm assuming you're not a sister in the school yet. You don't have a Hebrew name. Are you in your 90 days at least? Are you at least a student in the school? Or who do you currently report to in the school? All right. Once you're a student in here, once you officially become a student and you come in the class regular, you're assigned a camp leader to report to watch over you, answer your questions. All right. Don't just learn from a year from the UPK and think you're in the school. You want to come through the straight way, straight gate. All right. Where we at? Anything else, Bakwash?
So that's it.
No sweat. Okay. Go ahead.
Something just came up. Someone, Ariel Weeks.
Also, when you type your questions in, just put where you're from. All right. So after we done break the question down to you, I could put you in touch with the school that's closest to you. All right. Go ahead.
I don't know if you want to talk with this guy again, but he says the Negroes are stiff-necked people, not the 9 tribes with straight hair. That we had to be put on them ships for slave labor under Idumea.
I don't get his point.
This is a brother who's from Barbados, who was saying, the borders were changed and some people were.
Oh, he's back. He might be another one. Huh? What's that? That's the Atlantis dude?
No, actually, Slack. That wasn't Atlantis dude, but
it was in the same class. Okay, so what is this point he's making about the straight hair people? Is he talking about Esau?
No, he's talking about the northern tribe. The northern tribes.
He's talking about the northern tribes. Okay, so let me see. Give me I need an Israelite who got that straight hair, who is not a northern tribe, who looks like a devil. Give me pull up, what's the basketballer name? I call his name all the time. Blake Griffin. Pull up Blake Griffin. Pull up Blake Griffin's father and pull up Blake Griffin's son. His son who Blake had sex with a woman and put seed in her. And 9 months later, that son came up. All right? Pull up them 3 pictures if you can. If you need help with it, let me know. I could do it from here, all right? All right, I'll deal with you, all right? With what's his name? Barbados. We just call him Barbados. We just call you Barbados, right? Okay, in the meantime, what's the other question we had with What's the other question you had there with Saul and David?
So it was the question was, why was Saul? What was the house of David's house and Saul's house fighting?
No problem. Okay, so Garvin, let me know when Sawap come on too. All right, I think Sawap said he's gonna make it on for sure. Yeah, you need a little bit more time tonight. Okay, so the brother asked the question: why was there a war between King Saul and David? Right. Okay, so in Israel's history, Israel went through a period where there was a civil war in the kingdom, in the nation of Israel. All right. Saul was king. Right. What's the history behind Saul being king? Anybody? Yahanna? Go ahead.
Okay, Saul became king, and the Most High remembered. The Most High wanted the king kill Agag.
No, not that part.
Okay.
The history behind him becoming king.
How he became king.
Mm-hmm. No sweat. Anybody else? Shabbat Salaki.
Salaki, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Israel was so pressed to have a king because all the heathens had kings, surrounding us. And so the Lord appointed Saul.
Right. So that's where you first want to go, Garvin. All right. That's where you first want to go. Could you pull the precept for me? I believe it's in what? Samuel? No, I think it should be in Samuel. It got to be Sam. No. It would be in Kings then. I believe it might be in Kings. Just check it for me. All right. Exactly where it is, where Israel started to moan. In other words, when you hear moaning in the Bible, it's like Israel started to bitch a little bit and whine and complain, like we always do. We whine a lot. We whine and complain. And I could imagine how we would, complain to the Lord with all this marching, no justice, no peace bullshit. You get the point? Or I want to say bullshit because it doesn't do anything to help the oppression. Yes, and not that being mad is BS, but it doesn't help the oppression. Right? We was moaning and complaining to the Most High Power because the heathens, the Hamites, the so-called Africans that's around, the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, the Moabites, the so-called Chinese, all those who are around us. When I say around, these nations were around about where we were. They all had a king. Right? Before Saul, the nation of Israel did not have a king. The Most High was our king. But we've always wanted to be like the heathens since the days of Adam. Adam, not being the first man, Adam was the first man the Lord gave the truth to. And he gave him a wife called Eve. He had two of them having the knowledge of the Lord amongst everybody else. Adam and Eve looking around at everybody else and becoming envious of their lifestyle and wanting to be like them, and started feeling ashamed that they were Israelites and not like everybody else, not Israelites, like people of God, because of course at that time there was no Israel person. They became ashamed that they were the chosen of the Lord and not like everybody else. Just like who? Just like who? Yeah, but if you're in class, just like Everett, Israel is a stiff-necked people. I would never call myself that. Get it, point? What did he not say? That he's not an Israelite. He didn't say I'm not an Israelite. He said I'll just never call myself that. Meaning, okay, when you look at the spirit of it, is he already know who he is. He just not calling himself it. Just like Adam and Eve, they knew who they were, and of course, listening to the lion serpent, they decided to be like everybody else. And they became ashamed and covered themselves with fig leaves. In the Bible, the fig leaves are not physical leaves. They're the philosophies of the other nations. They wanted to be the other nations. And that's who we are as a people. We'll quicker join Scientology than come to a UPK class. You will sit and hear the Israelites, the Christian prophets speaking all day, every day, and speaking facts 100%, and go join, Fifth Episcopalian Church down the street. We go become, Rastafarians, Muslims, whatever religion, worship, woman, Egyptology, Buddhists, whatever, but we would not serve the Lord. That's what we've always been. Now the Lord gave us a nation, he built us up. We started looking at the heathens and what they had and started envying their glory and wanted a king. The Lord being our king, we want a physical king to have over the top of us. That's where it really started. What's the precept? You got it? Call it out. Nice and loud, all right?
Book of 1 Samuel, chapter 8, verse 19. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay.
Okay, read what Samuel said. You have it? What did they refuse?
They refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we will have a king over us.
Okay, but what did they refuse? What did Samuel say that they refused?
Verse 19, chapter 8.
It should be right up there. Couple of verses above it. Tell them when.
Verse 5.
Verse 5? I'll take that. Go ahead.
Verse 5, and said unto him, then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. Right.
This is what they told Samuel. They told Samuel what?
Make us a king.
No, what they said before.
They said unto him, behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways.
That's very important. That's very important. That's a good pivotal. When the Sabbath breakdown, he said, you are old, and your sons walk not in your ways. What they doing? What are they saying?
They're saying like, okay, you old.
You old, so that means what?
Possibly about to die. Or
remember, he telling them something. He telling them the Lord is their king. Right. Remember, Samuel of the, he's a prophet of the Lord. So he been, prophesying. It's old, and your children don't even follow what the hell you teaching. You understand? They're trying to discredit him for what he's saying to them, even though they know it's right. But what Israel wants at that time is a king. We want a king, Samuel. What do you know? You old, man. You old. And furthermore, your children don't even listen to you. Why should I? That's the life of a priest.
Right.
You could make children all you want. You don't make them mind. That's an old saying. That's an old school Israelite saying. You could make children, you don't make them mind. You don't know what the hell that ought to be. Right. You could say, you can invite, but at 18, it's whatever. You know what I mean? There's the door, nigga. You get what? Or anoint with head. Do you take this oath to serve the Lord, and that's that. Right. But you don't know. But his life is devoted to the Lord. So whatever he lose. And they didn't want to listen. That's how Israel is. Israel is hard-headed, like Everett said, stiff-necked. He's hard-headed. Think about Everett. What you don't understand is that's why you should love Israel. Because we hard-headed. We ain't rejecting the Lord. We just stiff-necked. That's about it. We just stiff-necked. You're going to get strong. You're going to learn how to talk to Israel. Guess who else is stiff-necked? Israelite women. But they're the baddest women on the planet, though. So what do you want? You're going to pass up on the baddest box in the world? Just because her hair a little bit hard? I'll give her something harder. That backboard. That's like board. That's a lot. I apologize. Right? So they're discrediting Samuel. Samuel saying, read this again.
Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves and came to Samuel unto Ramah and said unto him, behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways.
Go ahead.
Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations.
Right now, make us a king to judge us like how all nations have it. The nations have a king they go to, and Israel hearing about these things, and they want one of their own. We want one of our own. That's how we are. That's why Barack was such a big deal to the world, but really to us as a people, because you could have been in, I don't know, in Haiti, in Trinidad, somewhere in Jamaica, seeing Barack Obama become the president of the United States, did some tears of, whoa, first black president and blah blah blah, and here we are years later, and he did nothing for us. Get the point? Come on.
Crazy, and I still be in the world. One brother got a huge Obama tattoo on his neck. So
damn.
Right on his neck.
He went and sit down there and got bzz.
Because Obama buttons every day, like
yikes.
His second term, I was in the school.
That's it, brother. I'm trying to tell you, it's rough, but that's how bad Israel would go, because we want to be like the other nations. Obama, of course, is not one of us. He's a so-called African. So now they come into Samuel is telling them, no, the Lord is your king. They say, we want a king like the other nations.
Verse 19. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel.
Right. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel. They didn't want to listen to the prophet of the Lord, which is how it always is. Nobody want to listen. Go ahead.
They said, nay, but we will have a king over us.
And they said, no, we'll have a king over us. Right, go ahead.
Verse 20. That we also may be like all the nations.
Right, we wanted to be like all the nations. Until this have to be. We have to be like these other nations. Our women, like I said a minute ago, are the baddest women on the planet. Hands down, you'll not find a better woman than a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian woman. What's the proof? Every so-called white woman gets a tan like our woman. Wants the hair like our woman. Going and getting what? The Botox injected for the big lips like our woman. Going and getting that fixer flat in the rear end to get behind just like our women when our women are born that way. And what do our women want? To look like them. Blonde hair. Weave blonde hair. Taper in the eyes to look like the Moabite. You want to trim your nose to look like Sally. You get the point? You're going on the keto, the keto and the I.S.U.P.K diet to get skinny like this damn trumpet thing here to look like the white woman. You get the point? We've always wanted to be like them and not like us. Even today, look at that Afrobeats music. That Afrobeats music is a strong fusion of dancehall music, a bit of reggaeton, and Judite jazz and R&B music. And instead of us looking at them Africans like, what the hell y'all doing talking about Afrobeats? This is our welcome them. Shayo, everybody going there, everybody do learning this. So what the hell is that retarded shit he's singing? He ain't no Vibes Cartel, man. Like, we the salt of the earth, but we've always wanted to be them, the best. But internally, something with us, we always want to be outside. Go ahead, Shabbat.
My least favorite is the pear pie eyes, and they be put on the gray and hazel eyes, and they be trying.
I mean, it's okay, and this is the thing. There's some sisters born with them eyes. There's just come in here and be a priest, dog. They'll come ask for it. That's all. Yeah. You get the point? So that's where it started, right? Keep going.
Verse 20. And that we may also be like the nations, and that our king may judge us before us and fight our battles.
Because they wanted the king to go out before them and fight their battles like how they would see the heathens do. The heathens have a king and he march out there with the army fighting before Saul to fight our battles. The Lord put Egypt in the ground. The Lord drowned Pharaoh's armies. Get the point? The Lord brought plagues. One of them nations, he gave hemorrhoids. In the Bible, it's called emerods. I forget what the hell they did. They tried to steal the Ark of the Covenant or some shit like that. Them niggas tried to steal the Ark of the Covenant. The Lord made their insides come out through the anus sac. That's what emerods are. So much so it hurt them, they couldn't move. Now, okay, it takes, a whole ton of oppression to realize I'd rather have a Lord who could do that. I want to go to war. But Israel, we see in the glory of the war physically and not recognizing there's a whole spiritual glory that we ain't seeing. We wanted that king. And the Lord appointed Saul to be king.
So, it references a whole other part where what is his name? The one dude who got killed for touching the Ark of the Covenant. Whereas when they caught them hemorrhoids, they put chance on the Lord, like and he destroyed their statues and gave them hemorrhoids. So they put the Ark of the Covenant on a thing with some cattle, and they said if it goes straight, then that was their God. If it goes to the left or the right, then that wasn't their God, and they went straight. Whereas, when David had them bringing the covenant back in another scenario, the oxen started to move off a little bit, the covenant was about to fall.
I vaguely remember what you're talking about, but for sure, this is Israel here wanting to be like them. And the Lord, just like a father, you beg your father enough for that toy or that bike he can't afford. What does the father do eventually? Find some way to afford it for you. And the Lord gave us a king because we his children. He gave us Saul, right? And Saul went on to do what? Just what they wanted. Judge them and go out in battle. Before Saul disobeyed the Lord, Saul was whooping ass for Israel. Saul built Israel up to glory, had a ton of gold. That's why the woman went down when David killed by rising in power. The sisters made a song saying Saul killed thousands, David killed 10,000s. The Christians would make you believe Saul wasn't shit. Like he was just a bum. That's not the truth. Saul was Israel's king and was mighty. And then he got let pride get to him and he disobeyed the Lord. He started not listening to Samuel, just like the same people who wanted him to be king. Wanted a king. Didn't want to listen to Samuel. Then Saul gets into power, get tired, and he ain't listening to Samuel now. Now he gonna do his own thing. The Lord removed him. Now, so that's where you want to start, all right, Gavin? Now, after that, this is where you want to go. Give me Genesis 49. 9 or 10. That's where you want to go right after this one.
Is it Genesis 49 and 10, sir? Israel talking to the sons?
49 and yeah, let me hear 10.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 10.
Nice and loud, all right?
The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet.
Now, Israel wanted a king. Right. And they wanted somebody to judge them according to the law to war. But long before Israel was bitching to Samuel, long before there was a Israel, or the nation Israel, Moses recorded what? Read it again. Tell him where you are.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 10.
The
scepter shall not depart from Judah.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah. What is the scepter? A symbol of a king. Is that staff he holds? That's, and powerful. Might have a diamond on top or whatever. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, meaning it's not going to leave the house of Judah. Judah is the house of the kings. That's where the king would come from. Right. It's not going to depart from Judah. Depart meaning what?
There's going to be a king from a different tribe outside of Judah.
Well, if that's the case, then Saul couldn't be king. Depart meaning left. Like the Lord's spirit departed from Saul. Saul never got back the Lord's spirit after it left him. That was it. He was done. It was just a countdown until he died. Okay, meaning that it's not going to be a time where Judah ain't going to be the king never again no more. You get the point? Right. It's not going to be that type of time. He'll always be the house where the king comes from. So that's where, not where it started, but that's the way you want to understand what happened with Saul and David, right? So now Saul went on to win a ton of battles for Israel. I mean, beat them Hamites silly, brother. He was sacking them, taking the gold, beating the Elamites, but everybody who came, Saul was destroying them and building up a great army. Saul was a kingdom for Israel. You get the point? And then in power, okay, there was a few things he did. I can't remember. You want to read before that thing with Agag. That thing with Agag wasn't his first time disobeying the Lord, which is how the Christians teach it. He did a few things before, and that there was kind of like the last straw. There was a few things he did before, and it pissed the Lord off. And the Lord asked about it. When I say the Lord asked, Samuel came to him and asked, and he's like, no, well, I thought this way, and he went and did it whatever way. And then that thing with Agag, right? The Lord, Agag was an Amalekite, right? And the Lord swore to give revenge to Israel for what Amalek did to us in the wilderness after Egypt. All right. That's why I say, Gavin, I can't go into every single thing tonight because it's long. I'll paraphrase it for you. And as you stay in class, you're going to learn more about it. When we came out of Egypt, the nations around got sick, and they would not let us pass through their land because they feared that the Lord would do to them what he did to Egypt. Amalek said we could pass through their land, or Esau, whoever it is, and then Amalek came up from behind and started slaughtering behind most of us. As we moving in the caravan, the historians say it was almost like 600,000 men that left Egypt that day, which is millions of people when you add their wives and children and servants, right? So now you're talking about people moving. How we would move is the armies in the front and the children, the women, the weaker ones to the back. Amalek came from behind. You know, we said we didn't take his water or eat his cattle or stay in his land. They came from behind and started killing the weak and the ones who couldn't defend themselves. And the Lord swore to give revenge to Amalek for what they did. And he sent Saul to slaughter the house of Amalek with Agag and specifically destroy the king and destroy everything. Not take sheep, not take cattle, don't take gold, burn it all down. Saul went there and spared the king, Agag. Saul went there and kept the flocks, the sheep, the oxen, and came back. Samuel came to Saul and said, did you do what the Lord said? Saul said, yeah, I killed everybody. Then Samuel said, what is this bleating I hear in my ear? That's how he proved to Saul that he knew he was lying. Then Samuel proceeded to tell him that you are not lying to me, Saul, but you're lying to the Holy Spirit and to the Lord. And this day the Lord has removed you from being king. So that's the day where the scepter moved to Judah, right? But this wasn't a thing. This was Samuel. And after he told Saul that, he went to proceed to hack Agag into pieces. Into pieces, brother. Samuel was no punk. He wasn't a Christian preacher. Hallelujah. He was not that nigga, hushkala, bushkala, bushkala. Samuel said, if you ain't gonna do it, well, I will. And Agag said, surely the time of killing has passed. Samuel said, not yet. And went to work on that nigga and cut him into pieces because that's what the Lord wanted. So from then on, Samuel, the Lord told Samuel, go to the house of Jesse, and I'll tell you who you're going to anoint. Samuel got on his horse and rode over to the house of Jesse. The scriptures saying there were some priests, some prophets that had a reputation. In fact, all of them. When the people saw them coming to their on a horse, they got scared because they knew somebody was going to die. When a priest comes into you, to your nation, judgment is coming. And they got scared seeing Samuel coming, thinking, oh shit, you know, somebody gonna die.
Yeah, Shalom, Hashem, Shabbat.
Yeah, what's going on? So what?
I to sir. I to
What's in Christ,
So when we was in Hebrew Academy and we was up in Philly, and I heard word that you was coming down, I was like, oh shit.
Oh shit. Damn. All the way in Philly, Most High in Christ, brother. I've worked hard for that reputation. So good.
I just feel it. You went to Baltimore first, and you came over there. I heard.
Oh shit.
That's sloppy by me. The priests were coming to town, and the people got scared, knew somebody about to die.
Mm-hmm.
That's because the law. It's like you hear the police coming, like people.
Okay, the law coming. Don't okay. It's different than that. It's a little bit more extreme. This is the Lord coming. He is Lord. He is the voice of the Lord. Like what he says, that's what the Lord wants. You get the point? Is a little bit different from the police coming. The police come and they charge you, and then somebody else has to prove before jury that this charge was right or wrong. Samuel don't need nobody else, nigga. Samuel, you know, the law, what? Kill him? No sweat. That's it. It's different. I think, who's the other one? Jehu was like that? Not Jehu. Who was the one where they pour the oil on him? They anoint him to go forth and slaughter. And they say he got on that horse and rode so hard that the people, got scared. I think it's Jehu. He's a prophet. One of them anointed him and they said the oil ran his beard. And he got on that horse, brother, and started riding, and the people knew just what was up. I want me one of them big-ass Clydesdales. One of them draft horses in the kingdom, brother. I just want a full jet black suit. I want the sword black. I don't want nothing metallic. I don't want them niggas see me coming. I just want them here. That's all I want them to hear and shit themselves on the plantation. Because big black nigga coming. That's what I want. It's a lock here. Just pushing a carnal fantasy. Right? Samuel went on to the house of Jesse, who was David's father. Jesse had older brothers. Samuel thought those were the ones. Pull me up to that precept, please. Somebody find me where it said, look not on a man for his stature. Right? Look not on a man for his stature. Did Everett ever tell you where he's from at? Everett, you're running, man. Everett probably gonna find a fish to swallow him like Jonah. Trying to get away from the work. Don't worry, Everett. We gonna find him. All right. Who have it? Yep, let me help you find it. All right. Where it says, look not on him. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. But the Lord said to Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward.
On the outward appearance. That's how man looks. Okay, what happened was, and it's also just how Israel is. Saul was a big guy, big brother. He wasn't, average looking. He stood out. He was a big brother. Go ahead.
Scripture I had just read that was said shoulders above. He stood above everyone's shoulders.
He stood like a head and shoulders. Saul was head and shoulders long before. He was a big dude. Israel, that's how we are. We are carnal type of people. We get attracted to that type of thing, right? Samuel, when he went to the house of Jesse, he didn't tell Jesse that he's coming to anoint the king. He said the Lord had sent him to anoint. So Jesse even called ones of his sons who was already fully grown, big, had stature. I think a couple of them was in Saul's army. And Samuel is knees. And Jesse is like, Samuel is like, well, this is all the sons. And the Lord had to tell him, nah, go look again. And don't look at them. Because, you look at them like they're big and they're strong and they're this and they're that. He said, look not at a man's stature. Don't look at his countenance. Because the Lord looks at the heart of a man and not his appearance. Right? And he went to Jesse and said, it's none of these. Surely you must have another son. Jesse was like, well, I have one more, but you couldn't be talking about David. That's what the Lord wanted. The one who is like, you can't be talking about this nigga. That's why that Everett, you done messed up. All this says in the movie, you done fucked up now. You done messed up. You the one the Lord gonna want. You don't worry about it. You come to me in a Passover 2 years from now. It's like you remember me? And I'm gonna be like, la. You say, you remember Everett when I say I'll never be an Israelite? And I'm gonna laugh and share a drink. You get the point? Jesse said you could not be talking about David, but David was a young boy, and David was a troublemaker. He would get, when I say troublemaker, he would get into trouble. He's one of them kids, he just get into trouble. And they called, they sent for David, and when they sent for David, what was David's reply? Is it right there?
No, I know it's his Bible's.
I want you to read it though. Give me 1 Samuel 17 and 29. Start at 28. 1 Samuel 17 and 28. More questions? A few more? No sweat. We'll get to it. Go ahead.
Chapter 17, verse 28. And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard unto the men, and Eliab's David. And he said, why camest thou down hither? Mm-hmm. And with whom hast thou left those few sheep?
Right, so now Eliab is his oldest brother. And he see David coming, and he's like, nigga, who the hell call you? And who you leave with the sheep? Because David was a shepherd. He was a sheep herder. So they have him in the wilderness out in the field watching the sheep. And as he's watching the sheep, he killing wolves, lions, bears who coming to get the sheep. But David was rowdy. David was, So the brothers is looking at him like he's a fuck up. That's how they're looking at David. So Eliab is like, who the hell call you? What you doing here? And who you leave to watch this? Like he irresponsible. Who you left to watch the sheep? Go ahead.
In the wilderness. I know thy prayer.
I know thy what?
I know thy prayer.
I know thy what?
I know thy prayer.
Like they're looking at him like this little proud bastard. He don't want to listen to nobody. Just, you have your own head. Right? I know thy what?
Prayer.
Go ahead.
And the naughtiness of thine house.
I know you just a miserable ass nigga. That's his brother talking to him. Go ahead, Ash.
It sounds like you talking about that dude every week.
I'm just a snag. Listen, I ain't been here forever. I've been here a little while, and I've seen that type. And that type, come in here and sit here for 90 days, brother. That is a stone cold prophet, brother. That type. Now, he may not come in ever, but that type of brother. If he know he's stiff-necked, he did a little bit of reading. He just don't have the understanding. That's all. And so he come in here, you get that thing. You'll hear him on that mic. It'll be a rap. Keep reading.
Okay. For thou art come down, that thou mightest see them out.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 29. And David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause?
Right. So he's like, what have I done to y'all now, man? Like, what the hell, Like, why always me? Like, okay, what did I do now, nigga? What's your problem with me now? Go ahead.
It's like I said, the brother said it's the feed is real choppy.
Oh, boy. It's choppy. Might have too much things running on. You could clip that phone line. Right, clip down that phone line. Yeah, that's get that whole thing off. Let's see that helps. All right, anybody else, if you're getting problems with the feed, just let me know. All right. And David presented himself, and the Lord told Samuel David was the one.
Right.
And Samuel anointed David there to be the king of Israel. But this was done in private. This wasn't public. Which means what? Not everybody knows David is the king. Samuel know, the Lord know. Saul is about to find out. And this is where from this backdrop, it starts to grow. David was the one who killed Goliath, not Saul. Not Saul's captains, not Saul's officers. Nobody wanted to go fight Goliath. And David was the one who stepped up and said, you're going to let this uncircumcised Philistine stand there and disrespect our king? I'll do it. Let me go out there. I'll kill him. That's who David was. You get the point? And David got glory from Saul, from killing Goliath. Saul made David his armor bearer after that. Meaning he would carry Saul's sword and shield and armor and tend to Saul. And as David grew, Saul eventually made David the captain of the host of the army. He even promised to give David his daughter to marry, right? They grew. And then David started killing a ton of, could I say killing so much? They're going to flag it? Unalive is too gay. It's too moist in my palate, brother. It's moist. That's colorful. It's rainbow in my palate. I feel like, and them cartoons of the rainbow come out of the mouth. I can't say unalive, man. I can't do it. David started, shedding blood, right? He shed blood, and these Hamites, they paid the price for them. And David, Saul told David, if you go bring me 100 foreskins of the Hamites, and I'll give you my daughter. David came back with 200. And David started growing in power and might through the wars he would fight for Saul. And Saul started becoming jealous. The Lord put a spirit on Saul, an evil spirit that vexed him. And the woman singing, Saul killed thousands, but David killed tens of thousands. And from there, you started having that separation. Eventually, Saul tried to kill David at least 3 times in person. I'm talking about David, and David would play a guitar, which is a harp in the Bible. A harp in the Bible is called a guitar. David was a bad songman. That's why he wrote the book of Psalms. David was bad in the music. He had lyrics. He had, bars. So David would play the music and it would calm Saul's spirit. Saul liked the music. And one day they're in the throne room, and David just finished playing, and Saul looked at him and picked up a javelin and threw it at David, and it stuck in the wall right where David was sitting. David had to he had to roll out, right? Saul wanted to slaughter him because he realized this nigga trying to take the crown. Little did he know the Lord done gave David the crown. Now, this whole thing could have gone different. Saul could have obeyed the Lord and still had David come kill Goliath, still had David be his armor bearer, still had David be his captain, and then marry his daughter, and through the marriage, the crown somehow go to him instead of Saul's sons. It could have went any other way, but because Saul disobeyed the Lord had to remove him. And, the Exodus 15:3 says the Lord is a man of war, so let's get ready to rumble. And then there became a war in Israel, a civil war between David and his fellows and Saul. Saul was the kingdom. He was the government at the time. And David had men because he was the captain of the host of the army. So there were some men who rolled with David, primarily the house of Judah, right? Joab, who was his captain, was a Judite. And at one time, they all were captains under Saul. It was Abner, Joab, and David, or David, Abner, Joab, whichever one you want. It's split. And then they began to fight wars. And as the wars went on, David started winning the wars. You get the point? Started winning the wars. I'm giving you the short story, all right? You got to come to another class and break the whole thing down. Eventually, Saul and Jonathan got killed by these Hamites. And the crown went to Saul's son. Once again, Israel don't know David is the one. But watching the history of it, it's like, well, hold on. The Lord got to be with David because he's winning. His side is winning. It's growing. The Lord is not with Saul. Abner, being Saul's captain, is sticking with the line. the crown went to Saul's son. Abner was still fighting for one of Saul's son until one day Saul's son disrespected him publicly and accused him of some, not adultery, but some old dumb shit. And Abner was like, nah. And he went to speak with David about translating the kingdom over. It's a whole history. But that's really what happened. Saul disobeyed the Lord and was no longer king. The Lord chose David to replace Saul, and that was the method of replacing Saul. The Lord does things in a way to make it clear and concrete, where there's no, there's no if, there's no gray area. There'll be a gray area for a while, and then somebody will start triumphing. Somebody will start rising above everybody else, and you'll know that's the one who the Lord with. That's the process of the Lord. That's how it always happens. All right. Once again, that was in short. That's the shortest I could give it to you without, taking up the whole class. Anything else?
I just want to add a question
Please.
to that part, sir. So in our lives, when things, would you say that when things are going so-called successful for us in the truth, does that mean the Lord is not with us?
Say it again.
Like when things are seem like not going successful for us in the truth, does that mean like the Lord is not with us?
So when you're not winning,
right,
things are not going successful for you, you're going through your rough patch. If that means the Lord is not with us, right, in the truth, right. Okay, that does not necessarily mean the Lord is not with you. What you want to do, one, is get counsel on your specific situation, right? It could mean the Lord is not with you, even in the truth. Right. And it could mean the Lord is not with you in that particular thing that you might be doing. You might make a decision, whether it's a slavery, a woman, a husband if you're a sister, something that the Lord ain't with that shit. Right. And now you're going through it because the Lord was not with that. Right. It doesn't mean he's not with you. You get the point? So what I'm going to come to you. So what you want to do is you want to get counsel on that particular thing. Now, in general, the Lord is with you. It just doesn't mean your life now turns and you ain't going to be a Kardashian. You ain't going to live on Beverly Hills just because you come in the truth. You ain't going to go to sleep a Christian, come in the truth and wake up on, Rodeo Drive. That's not how the thing works, right? You're going to still have to go through certain things. The difference is you have the wisdom and understanding so that as you going through life, which is just regular life, you don't sin against the Lord. You don't now disgrace the Lord and disgrace yourself. You're able to cope with the oppression more because you know this is oppression and that's the devil there. Them heathens don't like us. You a nasty heathen. I understand why you're doing this to me, and you don't lose it. Israelites in the world tend to lose it over it because they don't understand. What is the first thing they say? Why are you doing this to me? Cop pull you over and talking shit. Why are you doing this to me? Some devil on your slavery or some heathen on your slavery who's your supervisor talking to you greasy. Why are you talking to me like that? When you in the truth and you be like, I understand you, devil. I know why you're talking to me like that because you're the devil. You get the point? It's a difference. You don't have the affliction of heart like the Lord said in Deuteronomy. You don't have the mental anguish no more. Like, why are they doing this to me? You ever see boys in the hood? He come in the house and who wants some? He ain't come in the house and be like, them goddamn devils, I pray the Lord kill them tonight. He ain't coming there like that. He felt hurt. I remember he was the good son. He was going to college and shit. He wasn't dope boy who would say what? Man, fuck them, slacker. You're trying to stay alive. You get my point? But he was, that's it. That's the difference. But now you're going through something, brother. This is what I would tell you. Never forget this as your brother or sister in the truth. Everything in your life is a test. Every single thing. Even the punishment. Right. So even if this is punishment or the Lord not be with you in this, it's a test to see if what?
You'll fight or fold.
Yeah, if you're going to fold.
Right.
Remember, Job, the Lord was not with Job after that council in heaven. Right. Remember the devil, the angel, Satan said, well, remove your protection from him, turn your back on him and let me have him for a while. Right. And the Lord did just that. Does that mean the Lord wasn't with Job? It was a test. Word to the wise, I wouldn't sit there in your situation and say, see, I'm like Job. Yeah, I'm going through heartache. Nah, nigga, you just might be wicked and the Lord punishing you. You want to get some counsel. So somebody could tell you, nigga, you had to probably stop what you're doing or march through what you're going through. Buckle down and march left foot, right foot. It's a storm in your life. It's a bad patch. It's a test. Go through the test. Or somebody to give you a little bit of wisdom saying, okay, in this situation here, the reason you're getting jammed up is because you had to go fill out this and apply here. Go do that, see if the shit change. You want to get some counsel on the situation first. However, it's all a test, dog. It's all to prove, and this is one thing the Christians don't understand, which is why they cry and get high so much. Like that clip from New Jack City with Pookie smoking the damn crack, and he crying. That's a Christian act. You had to go to war with whatever is in front of you. There's no other way around it. You have to go to war with it. Sometimes the war is within yourself. So I would say get counsel first, though. You know what I mean? So like you. Questions
online.
Hey, go ahead. So Sulaki, hold on 1 second. So Shapat.
Yeah, can.
Listening to you, me having my hand up, I'm just learning to have more patience in front of a prophet, because that's all I was going to say. It's like the whole book of Job is everything you just said.
That's it.
Even further to say, don't even just go off of that. Get counsel.
That's it. And Job never considered that the Lord wasn't with him. Well, I can't say he never did. He didn't until he sat with his friends. And his friends said, nah, you got to be sinning. And Job was like, no, I ain't doing nothing. And his friend said, no, that's why the Lord punishing you. You're sinning against him. And then Job turned and was like, Lord, why the hell are you doing this to me? And the Lord had to check him. And then Job realized how he should view it. He should view it as, man, you the Lord, and whatever you decide to do with me, I had to accept that because you are God. You are our Father. And the moment he said that, the Lord stepped back in and moved Satan out of the way and gave Job back tenfold, wives, children, servants. Remember, Job was wealthy. Job had a ton. But you got to understand with the Lord, you can't get angry with the Lord while you're getting your ass whooped. It's just think like you have a son or a daughter and they do some dumb shit and you whooping their ass and they turn to you and they guff up like that. They do this thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're angry at you. What you gonna do? Nigga, you mad with me? Now the beating go up. It go up. Why? Because I'm the parent in this case here. You're wrong. I'm whooping your ass. Take your beating. Like, okay, the funny thing with being with Christianity that have oppressed us, we done got soft and got all these labels for certain things in life. And it made us unable to cope with life. You understand? Life is life. This wisdom is what's going to get you through it. All right. So let me get you real quick. You there?
Yes, sir, like I say, man. It was just in and out in between. Yeah. No, well, basically, like we was going, right? It's like, how influential this society is towards we people, not really coming back to really recognizing, that the condition that we really face, how influential this society is.
You asking how, or you're saying it proves how influential society is?
Basically, like how you answer like questions and them how it come in. It basically showing like this society really influential to the fall of we people. But as I say, kind of go into my question like I was going to ask like how influential it is now, but how you bringing it out? It kind of answering it in a twofold way to show that this place really influential to we people, really not really recognizing who he is And then now, on top of it, now we really have to fight. And as you say, when we get in the licks, we have to know that is the Lord will gain with that beating.
That's it. That's it. And okay, what you're saying is absolutely biblical. Give me in the Apocrypha, give me the book of Judith. Give me where the Moabite king was talking to the Greek king about overtaking Israel. Right? The Moabite king said something that was very heavy to the Greek king. Also, give me in the book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 11. All right, probably let me get that first. Or whichever one first, it doesn't matter. The one in the book of Judith? Yeah, I'm straight. What you got? Oh, no, I'm good. Salaki. Right? The book of Judith with the Moabite king and also Romans 11. Right? So what you saying there is exactly this. Right? Go ahead.
Judith chapter 5, verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
Now, therefore, my Lord.
No, Judith is in the Apocrypha. All right, go ahead.
Now, therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
Right? So now this Moabite king is telling this Greek king, if he wants to take the children of Israel, he said, if there's any error in their way and they sin against their God, let's consider this. Go ahead.
Let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
That this shall be their ruin. Meaning what? This was a Moabite king. Moab is biblically the Chinese, right? The so-called Chinese nation. That's the house of Moab in the Bible. And the Moabite is telling this Greek king who's coming to oppress us that if we sin against the Lord, if we sin against him and we are in error, it'll be to our ruin. Meaning sinning against the Lord is profitable for them and not for us. Go ahead.
And let us go up and we shall overcome them.
And let us go up and we shall overcome them. We could take them if they sin against us. You get the point? We could take them if they sin against, not sin against us, sin against the Lord. We could take them, right? So what have you down there in Trinidad? The so-called West Indian, the Negro, who came into slavery, right? Before the Negro came in slavery in the Caribbean islands, there was the Taino Indian, the Carib and the Arawak, right? So what? Right? How is it? Who rules Trinidad right now?
The East Indians.
The East Indians rule. The East Indians and the Syrians. The Syrians, the Moabites, the Chinese, the so-called 1% are not black people. Right? Not even the prime minister of the country is in that 1%. How is it that they came hundreds of years after the Taino Indian, the Caribbean, the Arawak, and the Negro who was a slave? And they came hundreds of years later, served no slavery, and in charge. Because the children of Israel have sinned against our Father. We worship everything else but him. We hate each other. You have black people complaining about the Venezuelans coming into Trinidad. For what, nigga? For what? When the Venezuelans been in Trinidad long before black people, long before the so-called West Indian, the Benjamite. There's a place. So what you know about that place in Princeton called Indian Walk? Or not in Princeton, but leading up. I grew up thinking Indian Walk was a place named after the East Indians.
I myself do.
Everybody thought that was well. That's what it was. Come to find out, Officer Captain Galawan went and did some research down there, brother, and found out that Indian Walk was the trail the native Indians would take from Venezuela through Trinidad, that southern part, to do trade. And they called it Indian Walk because of the Taino Indian and Caribbean Arawak Indian. That's why they call it Indian Walk. But if you go down there now, who lives down there? So
Elam, East Indians, Indians.
And Ram Kisoon and Singh and Patel. That's who lives down there. How is it that they're able to come hundreds of years later and live over the top of us and oppress us? Because we in every other religion but what God gave us. God didn't give us religion. He gave us laws. That's what he gave us. He gave us laws, what to do and what not to do. And because we sinned against him, the heathens are able to take us. Read that part again, huh?
And my Lord, my governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
Let us consider that this will be their ruin. And we ruined in Trinidad. We ruined in Jamaica. Forget about Haiti. We ruined in Puerto Rico. We ruined in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We ruined in Southside Chicago. We ruined in Southeast DC. We ruined in New York. We ruined in the ghettos and the barrios and the reservation. Wherever we are, we ruined because we disobeyed the Lord. Keep going.
Now let us go up. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
And they say, let us go up, and we shall overcome them. They went and they overcame us everywhere, and they live over the top of us now and oppress us. Keep going.
Verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation.
But if there's no iniquity in their nation, if we don't sin against the Lord, if we don't break his laws, if we don't, break his customs and go after the heathens, go ahead.
Now, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them.
Now the Moabite is telling the Greek king, he said, now, if they obeying their God, pass by. Don't trouble them. Walk wide. Cross the road when you see them. Because their God, if he defend them, you're dead. The so-called Chinese man knew that in the time when the Greeks tried to take Israel, the time of the Maccabees, the time of the Apocrypha, the Moabite, he understood that if these people sin, we could take them. They're easy. But if they're not sinning against the Lord will defend them. Not them. Not them will give us a fight. The Lord will defend them. So what? It's in the interest of the heathen. It's in the interest of the world to influence us to sin against him. So now you see why Housewives is being pushed on us. There's another evil show I saw that they have on Amazon on one of them things. It's called not Atlanta. What's the name of it? Black something. All Black. It's All Black? Not Black Ink. It's some new thing called All Black, where some kind of spooky spiritual thing with these women whores who have power over men. There's some old sex power over men. It's one of them things on Amazon. It's all. Somebody look it up and see if they can find the name of it for me. It's a type of housewife or drama over sex type thing. Now you see why all our music is pushed on us with all the killing and the drugs. And I'm not blaming the brothers who sing it. The brothers who sing it is oppressed and trying to survive. I'm blaming the devil who's signing the checks to pay these brothers. That's who I'm blaming, not the brothers who sing the song. Hell, I listen to music too. I like some good old shoes up music. I like that shit. I like some good old vibes cartel. My gun do this and my gun doing that and blah 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 blah. I like that shit too. You get the point? Go ahead.
It's called All Black.
What does it say it is?
It's all BLK.
I think it's All Black is the name of it, and it's supposed to be some over sexualized, black woman who's really prostitutes and whores, but they have some spiritual power over men. It's just the basic, just pushing us into lust. This world will be nothing if we don't sin. You know what I mean? The brothers in Trinidad, so you know the effect of the carnival, how it have on our people. You down there in Brazil, you're doing the whole carnival, everything like that. Spirit of lust, brother. There's a whole ton of money behind that. There's a whole ton of money behind it. And if we separate, the money will fall. If we just separate from these nations and do for ourselves, the money will fall. And that's what we really need to do. Go ahead.
So carnival is like a Christmas here.
Oh, no, brother. It's way bigger than that shit.
It's like in the same spirit.
No, brother. Brother. How Shannon Sharpers do it? Nope. Nope. I pray you never, ever experience it. It's spiritually cocaine. Spiritually cocaine. The best strip club in the world does not compare to Carnival. I tell you that straight up and down.
That's right.
The best strip club in the world.
That's right.
Is it ass. Brother, that does not compare to a Carnival act. And Trinidad's Carnival is getting more like Brazil's Carnival, where the women walk naked. getting more like it, more and more like it. And it seems like as the costumes get smaller, the price gets bigger for the costume. So you're paying for nothing. You're paying in a second. You'll be paying for glitter. Just some glitter on your naked body, and you're just walking around. Because look over at me like, what? Oh no, that wasn't mine. Oh, you was there, so you know what I'm talking about. All right. I pray that never gets into your spirit, brother. It's hard to get out. It's very, very hard to get out. I told the brothers I'll never come back between the times of so you'll never see me between December and March. I'll come to Trinidad any other time and hold camp with you all. But you catch me in that December to March, you might see me on the top of the truck with the meat sheet. that old man might crawl out the grave. Crawl out the grave. You know what I mean? That's why it's your flesh, it's lust. It's to sin against the Lord. That's why they push us into these directions of making drugs our culture. That's not our culture. When I was growing up, the cocaine was considered a white man drug. The pills, the ecstasy, all them things was white people drugs. Black people always been on the weed. Not saying weed is any better. It's still a drug, but I just showing you the graduation of it. When I was growing up, tattoos was strictly a white man thing. Then the Hispanic tribe started doing it, and then the Judite and Benjamite started doing it heavily. Right? They push us into a direction where we sin against the Lord because it leaves us defenseless. It leaves us defenseless. You turn to the Lord, brother. I always tell this story. There was a brother in the school who was charged with a crime he did not commit. They locked him up for it. Went to court. They keep what's called this thing when they move the date and not extension. Say again? Postpone the thing because the witness, the so-called witness who's charging him, would never show up to give their testimony. Come to find out, in that state, there was a judge who was working with a juvenile facility. In America, a lot of these juvenile facilities and prisons are privatized, meaning some private entity is benefiting monetarily from locking people up. They're getting state and federal funding. Come to find out, this judge was working with this juvenile center, and he was getting a cut for sending young offenders to that facility, whether they're guilty or not. So you come in there 10 years old, you're gone. You come in there 15, you're gone. And once you're a juvenile, he don't care what you did, you're gone. The case came out, the racket was exposed while this brother case was before the court. That particular judge went into his chamber and blew his brains out. That was the judge who was over the brother's case. No case. You don't have to do nothing but say black and die. Just serve the Lord and come to the Passover and trust in the Lord. Now you got to trust in him. Because imagine you sitting there in that cell, you coming out the docks, going to court back and forth, and this thing ain't looking good for you. And then the witness stops showing up. And then boom, you hear this judge blow his brains out. It must be the Lord. I'm making this thing up. And there's many stories like that. Many stories about brothers who had a woman when they was in the world before they came into the truth. The woman then took the kid and had them on child support. Brother came into the school, went to court with the brother to get custody of the child. The woman played his tapes in court. So they played white man is the devil in court. And before a white judge, the judge gave the brother full custody and deemed the mother unfit, child support, everything. She pays him child support now. Like the Lord could defend you if you stand with him. But if you don't stand with him, you're for the wolves, your food. You get the point. The Lord's a gangster. He gonna defend you. But if you're not with him, you're food. All right, where we at now? Right. So WAP, that you could use that precept too for what you're saying. It's very, very lucrative that we sin against the Lord. All right. No sweat, brother. Go ahead.
We got a few questions, and one of them is an attack Which one do you want first?
Oh, you know I like smoke.
Count.
I like that good smoke.
It's a D.Y. Jarn. He says, why do you put other Israelites down who know the Bible and scriptures better than you? You say fake Israelites, but you can say every single camp is fake. And then he goes on to say, stop saying West Africa is not Israelites. You lot could learn a lot from IUIC and other non-ignorant camps. We got flavor like the Caribbeans. Nathaniel has more sense than Yahanna.
So why you here? Well, if I could learn from you, why are you here? Why are you asking me to break something down to you about why you fake? Let me tell you a secret, nigga. You're fake. If you wasn't, I'm not in your class typing to, why are you wearing purple? General Yahanna knows more than you. I don't give a damn about what's going on in your class, huh? I don't care who the hell you are. I don't care who the hell you. Listen, wear purple all they want. Wear purple drawers, wear purple socks, wear purple goddamn condom. I don't give a damn. Why are you here asking me if you fake? I don't understand that shit. You mad? Why are you always calling me fake? I'm not fake. Nathaniel this, Nathaniel that, Nathaniel's not. Goddamn. Get off of it. I don't understand y'all. Now, let me tell you about the sodomites named IUIC though. I'll say this. One of Nathaniel's men was having routine sex with a transsexual in the state of Arizona. Please pull up the tape. He found this transsexual on Backpage. What was his? The IUIC is famous for being sexual. I have to say it since you brought it up, right? They're famous, they world-renowned sodomites, right? The IUIC has a policy that if you come to them and you and your wife are not married according to the law of the land, meaning a license. I can't even say the law of the land because it's not a law to be unmarried. But they only recognize a marriage if a white man gives you a license for it. When the Bible says sex is marriage, you go pay her father a dowry. You get the point? You go ask her father for her. They tell you, if you don't put a ring on your wife's finger, she has to leave you. And they put her in a group with their wives, and one of their women encourage her to marry a brother in there. And then they let the brother go. The IUIC also tells you if you're unemployed, you're a sinner, and you're a dog and you're low. All these are, tactics to get your woman to leave you. Sodomites love having sex with another man's woman, right? Because really, adultery, this is another thing that plagues the Black and Hispanic and Native Indian community. You see adultery, where you have sex with another man's woman, you're a faggot. I'm going to explain to you why. What turns you on is not her. What turns you on is the fact that she belongs to him. Because after you have sex with her, you go to your homies and brag and say, what? Hey, I just banged so-and-so woman. Yeah, hey, I see you with so-and-so woman, and you feel good because you with so-and-so's woman. You get the point? That's what played Kanye West with that Kim Kardashian. He wasn't into the woman. He was into who she was with before that gave her prestige. That's really what's there in the IUIC. Anyway, a bunch of sodomites. They had one member who would go and get these massages in Arizona, or I think it's Arizona, with this transsexual who worked in a massage parlor. And he would get what they call happy endings in the massage parlor. You go to certain massage parlors run by these heathens, you could pay for a happy ending in addition to the massage. And he had sex with this transsexual. This was having sex with this man. And his spirit was convicted one day, and he shot the transsexual in the face while wearing the purple shirt and having the flyers. I'm not lying. You could go look this up. the police was able to find him. Guess how? Guess how? Come on, Kazak. Because he was wearing the purple shirt and had flyers in his hand. You want to know why I call you fake? Because you're having sex with men and shooting them in the face after. Nigga, come out the closet, man. Goddamn, just be you. I'm being me. I ain't got no problem with me. I ain't asking nobody why you calling me ignorant. I love the fact that you call me ignorant, nigga. I love it. I love the fact always take times that are less ignorant than yours. Go ahead and be less ignorant. I love that shit. I love that shit out. But these women, they love some old ignorant ass niggas. It's more for me. More for me. The IUIC in the United Kingdom, which I frequently fly to, let some African in, a West African from Nigeria. They let him in, and during the Feast of Hanukkah in 2019, he drugged a sister who was a Benjamite, a West Indian, raped her and murdered her while in the IUIC. You ask me, why do I call these camps fake? They're murderers and sodomites and adulterers. Nathaniel is a sodomite. He doesn't like women. He's on tape saying you could rape women. You could rape your wife. He's on tape saying if you come home and your wife don't want to give you sex, so she's tired and she have a headache, and he's I got a headache. And if I go take, she says rape. What? If you go take some anyway? So my sister, your wife, and she having a bad day. You know, women, they do get stressed out. Right. What's that song? The brother said, try a little tenderness. Yeah. It's not easy. Something. She gets, you know, something in that old dress. Try a little tenderness. This nigga go take it. He not never being tender. Right. Or you just give her some space, brother, and go to the other wife. You could just go to the other wife. Is that ignorant enough for you, nigga? You could go to the other wife. It's perfectly lawful and legal to go to the other wife and bury that scepter the Lord gave you in a pond of water. Bury it in there. But no, you have sex with men and murder women and complain to me of I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant. Nigga, you're fake. You fake. Here's the homely truth. What more can I tell you? What more can I say? Go ahead, Doc.
When I first heard it, saw the
1 second. Watch your phone thing. You put it up. Did you find the video? There's a video of the whole thing. Okay, no problem. I'll find you. You'll just subscribe to the YouTube and the Facebook. I'll put the video. It's official ABC news story where Arizona police arrested this dude in the purple shirt. And I have a picture with him and Nathaniel at some, I don't know where they have the gathering. It's some gay event, some LGBTQ event with him in the purple shirt with Nathaniel giving him dap. So Nathaniel can't lie and say he wasn't in their school while, he murdered this tranny. He was in there. He had the purple shirt on, getting a happy ending. But you in business about that, though. If that knowledge you have more than me, brother, listen, be smart. Go to the head of the class. I'll sit in the back. I don't want that dumb knowledge. I don't want that knowledge. This is what I want. I want Israel to raise up. I want Israel to rise. I want Israel to stop being oppressed by East Indians, the Chinese, the Moabites, the Elamites, the so-called white man. I want us to rule. I want every brother to have as much wives as he could handle and make as much children as the Lord gave him. That's what I want. About love scriptures and have sex with men. Go ahead. Go right ahead, nigga. What do I care? Go ahead.
You saying that you could go to the other woman when I think it was the general that showed the video of why Nathaniel left the IUIC, why he so-called left the
and what he say?
Left the I.S.U.P.K. He said because they had too many women.
He said that IUIC group was formed because the brothers in the U.P.K. was marrying so many wives. There's brothers in here with wives that your fingers can't count. I'm trying to tell you, put both hands together and you need a help. and you got children with these women, and they're gonna be with them forever. You just don't know how to handle it. And okay, really, you're scared of the woman. That's why we ignorant. You scared of these broads. Broad, look at you and yell. You put your tail between your leg and run to Nathaniel. Oh, Nate, she yelling at me. You see how we are at camp. You see how we are at camp, ignorant on the street. We like that in real life, and these broads like it. They love it. They love the whole thing. You come in there, they have the attitude. You open your mouth and let them have a few things, and before long, there's food and there's tail right after. Food, strong drink, and tail. How you want it? However you want it. However you need it. However you want it. However you need it. You listen, you should go check out our Passover videos. These bros in here, they ain't slighting us. These are some bad sisters up in here. Bad bros, and more coming. More coming in every day. You hear this sister in California, she's trying to make it down there. She's trying to make it down there while you and I fighting over a man. And I'm supposed to answer you over wisdom. Go ahead, brother. You got it. Go ahead, Bakwash.
Officer Hazahab says with Joy Morgan, she got murdered on the way from leaving the building on her conscience.
Thank you, Hazahab. Joy Morgan, that's the sister in UK who I mentioned earlier. She's a sister. She's a Benjamite from the tribe of Benjamin. This African took her after the feast of Hanukkah. He was in the building with her. They show you her dancing on the BBC News. She dancing in the feast and doing the little thing where the woman twirl around. He is in there. Say he giving her a ride home, drove to some, other park somewhere, drugged her up with that LSD, raped her, and then killed her. In the IUIC. Right. Nate don't have knowledge of that? Right. Super Nate? Nathaniel? Oh, man. Nathaniel can't shine my shoes out. Right. About that time, ain't no sweat because you give me the next good question there. You know what I mean? Give me the next good question there. You want your family destroyed, go to the IUIC. You want life and power and war and going to one, raising up your nation and seeing brothers turn from sin to serve the Lord. You come find Commander Johnny Yahanna and the I.S.U.P.K. Please. Go ahead.
Question from Natasha Yahuda. He says, Shalom, Lord Christ, everyone. Why didn't Paul go to Jerusalem, but instead to Arabia and Damascus in Galatians 1:17?
Give me Galatians 1:17, all right? Give me Galatians 1:17. I'm going to get that for you. Paul actually did go to Jerusalem. Maybe not for what you, for your purpose, but he actually did go to Jerusalem.
Galatians chapter 1, verse 17. Neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me, but I went into Arabia and returned again unto Damascus. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter.
It says it in the next verse.
Yeah,
it says it right there in the next verse.
Okay.
All right. Okay. You said it's Natasha Yahuda? Natasha. Oh, brother, Natasha. Okay, brother. Paul did go to Jerusalem, right? What he did at first, not at first. When our king appeared to Christ on the road to Paul on the road to Damascus, he commissioned him, he gave him his orders. Right. Paul had to go to Jerusalem to check in with Peter, right? He had to go there because Peter was in charge after Christ left. Paul was an apostle to the Gentiles. Give me Romans 11 and 13. Quickly.
Romans chapter 11, verse 13.
You stay on the Shema. You take a walk with him? To what?
Folks like.
Because just drive him around back, all right?
For I speak to you Gentiles, and as much I am the apostle of the Gentiles.
Right? Paul said, I speak to you Gentiles in as much as I am the apostles of the Gentiles. Right? Paul was sent to the Gentiles. Who are the Gentiles? Those who are scattered abroad, outside of the commonwealth of Jerusalem. You want to look up the word Hellenist, which is the English translation from the Greek Gentiles, the Greek word for Gentiles, because that Hellenist comes from it. Hellenist means Jews who made Greek their tongue, meaning they were Israelite born. They were Israelite by blood, but they lived in Greece. They lived in Cappadocia. They lived in Corinth. They lived in Philippia. They lived in Galatia, and they made Greek their tongue, right? In other words, they were living like the heathens, right? Like Natasha, the brother, you may not know, I'm originally from Trinidad. I grew up in Trinidad, but I've lived in America for a long time. Much so, if I go back to Trinidad, I'm not as Trinidadian as the Trinidadians. So much so they'll call you a Yankee. Now, I'm not from New York, which is what Yankee means, right? That they coin anybody from America a Yankee because New York was the destination of most Benjamites, right? And New York is famous for Yankees, the baseball team. So they call you a Yank or a Yankee. Now they'll say the Yankee boy or something like that. It's just a phrase meaning you live abroad so much, and now you're here. I don't even sound the same as much. So you all up here have an accent. Back home, I done lost it. Salakia. You get the point? So it's the same. It's like that, where they're born Israelites, but because they lived in Rome, they lived in Corinth, the brothers from Jerusalem, Israel, who was born there, who got circumcised on the 8th day, never missed a Passover, which was Peter and them. They're looking at you in Greece like, nigga, you a heathen. You're a Yankee. You're not one of us anymore. That was Paul. Paul was born in Rome. You get the point? Paul was not a white man. Give me verse 1. That same chapter and verse 1.
Romans chapter 11, verse 1. I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid.
Which is what the Christians like to say, how the Lord cast away Israel. He don't deal with Israel no more. God forbid, which means what? Hell no. Right? God did not cast away his people. Go ahead.
For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham.
For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham. Seed, meaning he came from a man who was from the tribe of Israel. He's a descendant of an Israelite. Go ahead.
Of the tribe of Benjamin.
Of the tribe of Benjamin. Paul today would have been a so-called West Indian. A brother from St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua, Trinidad, Jamaica. You get the point? He would have been from Grenada somewhere, St. Vincent. That's who he would have been today. And Paul was sent to the Gentiles, meaning those who were scattered abroad. That's who Paul was sent to. Right? So that's why he went to different places, because Israel is scattered. Israel was scattered all over the place. He went there, and that's what you have in Acts. Was it verse in Acts? Make sure you write that down, all right? Next time. But that would go with the one in is it Acts or Galatians? 1 and 17?
1 and 17.
Yeah, give me that one.
Galatians chapter 1, verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
Neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me.
Right, he didn't go there because they were already in the truth. Right, go ahead.
But I went into Arabia and returned again unto Damascus. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter and abode with him 15 days. But other of the apostles saw I none, save James, the Lord's brother.
Right, that's who he went to see. Paul went to see Peter because Peter was in charge. Right. And what Paul did was went to check in and give a report, which is what? UPK 101. You come into the school, brother, you get to check in. You got to check in and give a report what's going on with you, because the men in here watch over your lives. That's in the book of Hebrews. They watch over your life. Give me that too. That's for the sake of education. Give me that one in Hebrews, I believe 13. Paul went to check in, and he didn't go see anybody else. He went to see the man who was in charge, and he ended up seeing James, who was Christ's physical brother, because of course Joseph had sex with Mary and made buku children. He had more children than just Christ. No, that was it. It's Galatians. You have it up there. All right, give me the one in Hebrews that I want.
Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Obey them that have the rule over you.
Obey them that have the rule over you. That's UPK 101. That's what happened with Paul. You have to go see Peter. That's just how Israel runs. Go ahead.
And submit yourselves, for they watch over your souls.
Submit yourself, because they watch over your soul, meaning yield to what you're being instructed to do, what you're being counseled to do. Because brothers is watching over your soul. Brothers ain't trying to get you jammed up, but they could see in your, in your growth, meaning you're young in the truth, you don't understand certain things yet. And you might have a zeal to go wreck yourself. You think you're about to make a move, and brother, you're not seeing, you're gonna end up somewhere you don't want to be. Right. And brother is watching over you and giving you the right advice, because he's watching over your soul. Go ahead.
Oh, God. As they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief.
Right? As they that must give account, because what? In here there's rank and order. That's how the Lord set this up. Rank and order. And when those men who are above you, the men who watch over your soul, when they have to give an account of you, the account could go like, oh man, that brother going to WAB. He have a little situation there going on in the house, or his slavery, whatever it is, report that I told him what to do, he handled it. Something he mentioned to him, I wanted to check with you about it. How should I tell him to handle this? That's how the report gonna go. Or what's the other way it could go? It could go like this. Oh, Stalakis, so this brother here, he ain't checking in. He ain't letting me know nothing what's going on with him. I asking him questions. He vague as shit. I asked him, well, what's going on with his slave? He said, man shall not live by bread alone. he giving me the wisdom that I gave him. I taught you that scripture, nigga. What are you trying to tell me? Don't ask it shit. You could give that report back with grief. You could be like, I didn't really know too much about this cat here or this sister. They're just still doing their own thing. I told her, don't marry that brother in the world. That's what happens in here. We watch over sisters' lives too. Ton of you sisters, you're all struggling for a man. All the faggots in our UIC, Salakia. You can't get a man because Nathaniel is just turning your man into a sodomite. Right. Come up in here, wait 6 months, do your 90 days, get your name. Then there's another 90 days before brother could even talk to you. Because in here, you have to shed yourself of the world. Tell the sister in her 6 months, don't go marry that brother in the world. But sir, I need attention. I need to go out. I'm lonely, sis. I understand. 6 months is not a long time. Is he in the truth, sis? How he feel about the truth? He say he not with it, but he support me and whatever. Like in her mind, this thing could work because she could be in the truth and he could be in the world doing whatever. That's Christian. You tell her don't marry the brother, she goes and marry the brother anyway. And now she on the internet screaming how the brother nearly killed her. That ain't my fault. I told you don't marry him. You went and married him. Did somebody put a gun to your head? I'll do like Denzel training day. Like for a gun to your head. You did that shit for yourself. Yeah, but you so think that I'm trying to block you from having a happy, successful life. I'm trying to make sure you have a happy, successful life. I'm trying to make sure of it. Marriage is for life. It's a whole lifetime commitment. This thing cannot be undone once it's done. This is not the Christian church where you can marry a brother today. And when I say marry, meaning have sex with. And then in 3 months, because you'll argue and now you separate. This is not that place. And marriage is work. Arguments don't come. So what? You all can't see eye to eye? So that means what? The shit is over? Are you crazy? Listen, in America, the Republicans is white and the Democrats is white. They can't see eye to eye. Is America over? Is America failed? Is America a failed state because the Republicans can't agree with the Democrats? But your dumbass, you want to end your marriage because you and your husband can't agree. You're stupid. But if you listened in the first place, it would have been better for you. Get the point? So, like, I hope I answered the brother question about why Paul, where Paul went. Paul did go to Jerusalem, right? He did go, right? He said, meaning when he first got the message, he did not go right away. He went, handled some business. Then he went back to see Peter. He had to go see Peter before he fully got started with everything. But Peter was in charge. He had to go check in. He had to go report to Peter. All right. That sidebar. That's the scripture why every preacher is fake. That's the scripture really for every Israelite group who mad because we call them fake Israelites. Who did your leader go see before he started teaching? Just tell me who. Who did he go meet with? Paul. Christ came to Paul. Christ is the king. Paul didn't just go take off on his own like your preacher does or your fake Israelite group does. The Lord gave me a vision and you go start some nonsense. Right. Paul heard Christ and still went to Peter and checked in. Who did your leader check in with? Wasn't me. I know that. I ain't vouching for that nigga. I don't stand for him. Tell me who your leader checked in with. And then I'll, stop calling you fake Israelite. Stop calling me that. Crying ass nigga. Right. Oh, soft ass nigga. Tell your wife to stop calling you that. That's your problem. That's your problem. All right, any more questions? I will take two more.
Whitney Roberts said, I have a question. Is the tribe of Dan, I'm assuming it's supposed to be what or where? What is it said? I have a question. Is the tribe
ask him to retype. Go ahead.
I just said, is the tribe of Dan?
Okay, is the tribe of Dan what? You got to retype your question, all right? So I can understand it. Give me another one.
That was it.
No sweat. Give me Romans 3 and 1. Let's start there. Swap, we good to go?
Can't say, yeah, Swab.
No sweater. Nothing else in the room, right? Romans 3 and 1.
Okay. Book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 1. What advantage then have the Jews?
Say it again.
What advantage then have the Jews?
Say it one more time.
What advantage then have the Jews?
What advantage has the Jew? Like, why is it important to know you're Israelite? Why is the identity of the Jews so important? You get the point? Why is it important? Like that what's his name? Everest say he don't call him a Jew because we hard-headed and we this and we stiff-necked. Why is it important? Why is that important? Keep going.
Oh God. Or what profit is there of circumcision?
Or what profit is there of the circumcision? What does that mean when he say or what profit is there of the circumcision? Kamaya?
What's so good about us being circumcised? What's the reward? What's the reward of being circumcised?
That's okay. That's true, straight up and down. But there's more to it.
What's so important about it?
Give me another way, Shapat.
Like spiritual circumcision. Changing your ways.
Okay, that part is true too, but this is something else. This is something else here.
It's saying it's the covenant, being of the covenant, and being the people.
And being of the covenant means what?
Meaning that you are an Israelite. You are the people.
You have to
follow
what was
the law.
The law.
Right.
The circumcision represents that. It represents the covenant, and because we have that covenant, we have to follow God's laws. What profit, what benefit is it? What advantage is it being a Jew and having the law? Which is, why do I have to not eat pork? That's what they ask. Why do I not eat, why should I give up pork? Why should I do this? Why? I want to live. I want to be free. Why do I have to stop living? Why do I have to do? Because they think the life we live now is living. They think, maxing out your credit cards, getting high and drunk, wrecking cars, have not being able to keep a wife. You having sex with some woman this year, next year your homie having sex with her, and that's his woman. You think that's his life. You think you think life is, finding out that man ain't who you would give your life to. He in the closet, really. He ain't a man. All them times he go into the court to play basketball or something else. He doing something with balls though. But he ain't playing basketball. He doing something. You think that's life. That ain't life. You think experimenting with alternative lifestyles is life. That's not life. What profited us to keep the law and to know the Israelites? Keep going.
Oh, God. Verse 2. Much every way.
Say it again.
Much every way.
Much every way. Not a little bit, not some, but much every way. Every way. It profits us in everything. In everything to know you're Israelite. Because these laws, statutes, and commandments the Lord done gave us, brother, it's what shaped the world. It's what gave the world what it is. Our oppressors done took this book and these records and applied it to himself, and he runs the world. So-called Jewish man who is not the real Jew done took our records and he runs the banks. He charges. How do the banks make money? Who knows? How does the bank make money? Usury, which is what? Interest. Our laws say you can't charge interest to another Jew or Israelite, but you could charge interest to everybody else. Right. Because interest or usury is a form of slavery. It's financial slavery. Right. The Jewish man took our laws, brother, and got into that banking and insurance and all that type of stuff and making buku money with it. Took our customs, took our ways, and ruling the world with it. What benefit is it being a Jew? Much every way. Right. Give me some more.
Okay. Chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God. Verse 3. Mm-hmm. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God?
So like unto them were committed the oracles of God, which is the records of the Most High, the history of the Most High, and the records of what he did and his laws, his ways, his statutes, and his commandments. That's how we are. That's what gives us our flavor. His laws, his rules. That's what makes us great. That's what makes us superior, far above. Not that we are a better race of people, but what the Lord gave us makes us that. You get the point? Read that next verse again, verse 3.
Okay. Verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?
For what if some did not believe? What if some people did not believe the Bibles? What if some don't think this is real? What if some don't believe we are the Israelites? What if some don't want it? Shall that make the faith of God of none effect? Shall that now make it false? Shall now, because you say we stiff-necked and you don't want to be one of we don't want to be called the Israelite, what shall that now mean that this thing comes to an end? Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 4. God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Yea, let God be true, but every man a liar.
Let God be true and every man a liar. God forbid. You could believe what the hell you want to believe. You could believe you got the truth and you mad because we call you a fake Israelite and we ignorant. Believe whatever the hell you want to believe. Right. But the Lord will remain true and every man a liar. If they speak not according to the oracles of this record, the truth is not in them. And you could look around and see. Manager Yahanna speaks according to what's written here. Right. He don't invent nothing and tell you had to go get a marriage license. He don't invent nothing and tell you it's okay to have interracial marriages. He don't invent nothing and tell you, whatever law is done away with and you don't have to do that no more. He don't invent nothing and tell you that nonsense. He tells you what the Lord said. I can't say that for you, leader. Go ahead.
Like if a brother coming here with a so-called girlfriend,
mm-hmm.
like he coming in from the world, he already has a woman or has a girlfriend. The priest and that's your real, brother.
That's your real.
Now we in school got experience with a woman that was with a woman and her man was in a purple group, and they actually broke that couple up. And now she was confused because they in the beginning before they got to Nate, they considered themselves married without the license.
Mm-hmm.
But then as they went to the purple group, it destroyed their They took that. They took them not having a marriage license as them not married. So they took that as new knowledge. Okay, well, actually, now we're not.
We're not married. So all that hell he been putting on her for weeks.
Right.
All that, oh God, and eyes rolling up in the back of her head. That shit don't mean nothing now. Because some people sodomites said they're not married. No, let God be true and every man a liar, man. That man lied to you. You come in here, I don't care if you ain't got no job, if you're living under a bridge. That's your wife. That's
Right.
your wife. You get the point? That's your woman, that's your husband, sister. That's him, that's your Lord. And okay, this is the funny thing about it. When they're young and the truth, they'll have sex as long as they know that it's boyfriend and girlfriend. From the time you hear husband and wife, it's like, what? Somehow you just didn't look at each other like this, like with the test, like no, I'm stuck with this motherfucker. Yes, and it's gonna be a beautiful thing. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I know y'all think you was able to have fun and separate at the first time y'all can't pay a bill, but in here that shit don't happen. You get the point? It benefits you in every single way. This knowledge here, everything we went through tonight in class was because of the knowledge of the Lord. It benefits you much being an Israelite, much knowing you're an Israelite. It'll take away immediate frustration on your slavery, in your marriage with your kids, you're in some college somewhere, you're a young brother or sister coming up. It'll take it away. You have some financial problems. I could tell you why you have financial problems. You ain't paying tithes. I can tell you that straight up and down. You do a survey of any Israelite anyway having financial problems. I see if they pay tithes. They'll tell you no. I guarantee it. There's no way you're paying tithes to Commander Yahanna and you have financial problems. That shit is not happening. But you don't pay no tithes, the Lord is coming for his, though. He's coming for his. You're going to get it some way or the other. You get the point? With that, pass the class over to Priest and Officer Shapataya. Oh, shit.
I.S.U.P.K security announcements. With I.S.U.P.K on the 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yahanna. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to share themselves with the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will call each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means 10th in Hebrew, and is pronounced I.S.U.P.K. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, given the treasury department will teach you. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whichever much you like to give. Upcoming holy convocation, Purim, the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month, Sunday the 5th of March and Monday the 6th of March, 2023. You can find this in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 through 31. And the Lord's 54th annual Passover, April 1st. Get your hotel, hurry and book your hotel rooms, get your plane tickets immediately. Salami. Remind Akim and Akwati to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a troop in the school, you should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband and scarf. And with that, I say I bite him, which means to stand. So, whopping y'all which means turn face to east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer. Abano. Shabbat Shemayim. I.S.U.P.K. Yahweh.
the thunder
the
now,
thunder
the come,
will come.
now,
Your walk.
your one,
Your walk.
what's a lock now,
What's that now?
come
What now?
Kasalak
That's
now,
now.
come wafi
For
now,
what now? All the heart.
double I now, Father say a walk,
Bob.
outside now,
Stand. Kayon. Baka. Malak, Lord. Ahava. Sahara. Hallelujah. Amen.
in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be
Will be
done
done in earth
as it is in
as
heaven.
in heaven.
Give us this
Give
day
us
our
this
daily bread.
our daily
And
bread.
forgive us our debts.
Forgive us our debt
Forgive our debtors.
As we
as
forgive
we
our
forgive
debtors.
our debtors.
And lead us not
Lead
into
us
To
into
temptation,
temptation.
but deliver us from
Deliver us
evil.
from
For thine
evil.
is the kingdom,
Thine is the kingdom, and
and
the
the
power,
glory,
and the
forever.
glory,
So be it.
forever. So be it.
We'll give a courtesy salute to the teacher. Saul, which means the turn. We'll give us courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Imam Shabbat, Imam Barak,
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Yahweh Matah, Clarence Smith.